This will be assembly of the Mdka. Got the case cleaned up, and first we're going to start installing our seals. Take assembly lube, assembly goo. This melts with heat and it'll become transmission fluid. I like to pack the seals so the spring doesn't come off with the grease. And throughout this video I'm probably just going to be showing what I'm doing. I won't be talking too much. If you have questions, just leave them in the comments box. Okay, install the seal. They generally push in by hand. You can use a driver, but they push in just fine. Find you a seal that fits. Looks like it's this one. All these seals only go in one spot. You can't really put them in the wrong spot. This one will have to be driven in. Don't put them in crooked. Take a soft-faced hammer, rubber mallet, back of a hammer. Special tools required, and that's good. Okay, just one more seal for the all-wheel drive unit. Put that in. Get pretty much any seal. This works for rear main seals too. Any seal that has a little spring to hold tension on the lip seal. I like to pack with grease. Sometimes during installation the spring will come off. Okay. Good. Flip it over. It's been through a parts washing machine, cleaned everything, and then I've got a small spray bottle with just ATF. Lubricate your bearings just like this. I've already done that, but any wear, it's metal on metal. Get it lubed up. Alright, we're going to assemble the valve body. First is our separator plate for the main valve body. There should be 2 dowels in your pump. Two dowels, one here, one here. We've got our pump going in here. Get it a little bit lubed so it doesn't blow up on first time you try to start it. It's your pump gear. Inspect the surface. Make sure there's no wear. Typically, if there's not a bunch of wear here, you're not going to see a bunch of wear here. Make sure it moves free. Get it lubed up a hair. And driven gear. This is the dowel for it, and the driven gear. There's a ring at the bottom for lube. It's right down there. Okay. This time we've got to get our main valve body ready. It's cleaned thoroughly and a parts washer blown off with pressurized air. You want to check and make sure. Find a little pick screwdriver. Check and make sure that the valves move freely. We find a screwdriver. Just as a scribe, it'll work. I prefer a little flat blade screwdriver. But essentially, find a valve, push up on it, make sure it works. If it's stuck, you know you've got a problem. And this transmission didn't have any major issues except for being worn out, so I don't expect any stuck valves. Okay, they're all good. Go ahead and install the valve body. This way. sockets on. Be careful of your manual lever, it doesn't bind up. Okay, there should be a set of 10 millimeters and a set of 12. Got our short 10s, medium 10s, short 10s. And our 12s. I always use a speed handle for installing. Got 12 millimeter and 10 millimeter. About the only sockets you're going to need for this inside of the transmission. Believe it or not, you don't need a lot of tools to repair and rebuild transmissions. Now, they're just hand tight. My theory is that it's more important that they're evenly torqued, and using a speed handle, I get the feel for that. Some guys like to use 1/4-inch impacts, something like that. I don't like to use that. If it's torqued slightly unevenly, you can get some valves to bind up. Never really ran into that using it my method, and this is what works for me, so this is the way I do it. Okay, evenly torqued. So this time I'll probably put my differential in. I can't remember if there's a sequence, but I think the all-wheel drive transfer gear goes in first. Probably doesn't matter. We've got our differential. The differential, check your bearings. Make sure the bearings are in good shape. Dull, not too shiny. There are diffs in there. Looks good. Don't forget, on the transfer gear there is a small washer here. Sometimes it can come off in the case. There's a bearing for your, this would be third gear. Yeah, third gear. So third gear bearing. Be careful of the way that it goes in there. I think it can go down that way, but it doesn't. You want the round edges facing down, just like so. Okay, the rest of the valve body. We've got for every valve body section there are 2 dowels. So we've got 1 dowel for this section, 2 dowels. 1 dowel, 2 dowels. There should be a converter check valve. It gets pretty dirty and can hang up sometimes. I just brake clean them. It's good. Nice and lubed up. Okay. Lubey. Now where does this guy go? Here? Yeah, it goes there. And there is... I kind of forget where this piece goes. Nope, doesn't go there. Oops. I don't build a whole lot of these ones. I believe this goes in the next valve body section. Here. Negative. Okay, it does go in here somewhere. I just need to remember where. Actually, the converter check valve does not go there. This is another restriction device. Okay, this is where our check valve goes. It works well. Should be a check ball. lubrication. I may have to, no, there's a check ball. There's a spring and a check ball. So check ball, spring. Okay. We've got a plate. Separator plate here. Make sure it's lint free. Lightly oiled is fine. You can assemble them completely dry or a little bit oiled. I prefer just a light film of oil. It seems to go together easier. Be careful using a rag. It'll leave lint. Okay, this plate here. I believe this guy's for the top. The more organized you are, the easier it's going to be to assemble. Nobody knows everything. You can't have a photographic memory of all this stuff, so just try to stay organized. Okay, so right here is a filter screen. They should come in your kit. Yep, came in my kit. Parts. If they do not come in there, which lately I've seen they usually do come, but if they don't, you can just blow them out with your air wand. That's the way they do go in. You can flip them. I've done it on accident, never had a problem, but I try to put it in the right way. Okay. Our separator plate on. Alright, we can put this piece on now. There's a stator mechanism that affects your line pressure. This, you want to double check. There's needle bearings in here. Check to make sure they're in good shape. There's an O-ring here. Okay, I didn't see this labeled in the bag. Don't think that's our stator support O-ring. Here it is. Here's our new O-ring. Get that on there. Okay. A little bit of oil on the inside and on our needle bearings. Okay. Let's see which way does this go. That's the way it goes. Right. It goes over this way. Okay, there should be a bar pin there. Just wipe off some of the dirty oil. Okay. And locks it in place. This is another valve body section. Not too many valves in here. I've never actually seen them lined up here. I don't change my accumulators. I've never had problems with them. And, sorry, that doesn't go there. This section goes there, and our reverse shift fork in fifth gear. That's totally wrong. Pardon the fact that I'm not 100%. I do know these transmissions pretty well, but I just haven't built them in a while. I'm also a business owner, so bear with me. We'll get it. These are different from Odysseys, where they have the detents part of the fork. It's kind of neat. So, okay. This goes around to there, like so. Come on. There's a few bolts left. Sometimes you can just put all your bolts in and worry about where they go after you place them. I know these two go to a splash oiling shield. No, that doesn't go there. Throw that in there. Nope, we must have a long one. gotta play with it. Is that good? No. I bet that goes there. That couldn't go there. Something like that, I'd say. Something like that. Okay, try to start in the middle. Get it torqued down evenly. And we're already 13 minutes in. I'm probably working half time because I'm a little camera shy. All these things I'm saying out loud are always going through my head at the same time. I'm usually pretty quiet when I build. Some guys like to socialize. I just zero in and focus. It's kind of like meditation. Meditation really is just focusing on something and losing your thoughts for everything else. That's the way I find working on a bench. Our next one is our middle valve body. These have problems. I've seen these bind up a lot, and I like to get a real flat blade screwdriver, not a scribe. I don't damage it. Okay, I did in fact find one. So let's go. Let's check this. What do we got here? Here's one valve. Another valve. That moves. This one moves. That one moves. Uh-oh. That one moves. Okay, they all look good actually. Let me check this one. They look pretty good. Okay. I usually don't mess with valves if they're free. If they're free, that means they're working pretty good. Sometimes there's a couple problem valves, and usually the problem in the end cap. But we don't have to go there this time. And I won't show you my trade secret on how to fix that. Okay. It's in there. In this section, we've got 3 check balls. I believe I've done some of these, and there's 4 check balls. This model has 3, and there's this piece that goes this way up, just like so. Okay. Of course, 2 down pins, and there's 1 bolt holding this in. The next piece has more that pass through, but this section only has 1 bolt. And we'll tighten that up. Okay. Like so. Separator plate, light film of oil. Okay, which way does it go? I have no idea. Something like that. And here, is it in here? It's in the next section. If it goes like this, or does it go in there? It goes in here like this. No, it couldn't possibly do that. Okay, so this goes here. That goes like this. Okay, so Odysseys, this typically is like over here. For some reason over here it's flipped upside down. I'm going to put on this splash shield, and I think the filter goes through the shield too, so we'll put our filter on. Funny thing about this transmission is pretty much everything is a sequence. If you go out of sequence, you got to start taking apart a lot of other crap to get that piece on. Okay. There's our filter. Get it torqued down. Make sure there's no obstructions with your shield. Never seen it happen, but I'm always afraid of it. Ding, 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 down the road. Because you didn't get that shield to work right. Don't forget this tube is right here. And it goes somewhere in this area. Okay, again, this is that same section, so I've never really seen anything go wrong, except for solenoids. From time to time, and it goes this way. Sorry. Okay. Down with you. Down with you. Okay. Got a bunch of long bolts here. Bunch of long bolts. Just be there. There's there. Rearrange them. That's right up there. That's right up there. Could just go here. Oh, we got one here. Swap it out for this one. Okay. Very good, very good. Try the metal one here. These 4 solenoids you can't access from the outside. I like to always ohm check them, and also use a power probe to apply voltage both ways to make sure it works. But this transmission worked fine. Honestly, it had a slip in first gear. It was a sprag hub related, or first gear related. So it shifted fine. I don't see why the solenoids won't work. Not going to even bother. You want to check everything, but you know, what you know, you know. If those solenoids had a problem, it would never have shifted right. They had a problem with shifting. Evenly torqued. Okay. If I had to guess, it's probably around 8 to 10 foot-pounds. I'd be fine anywhere between 5 and 15 as long as they're all even. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the valve body. Now we've got to work on our shafts. They're kind of funny because there's a sequence to them. You've got to drop one gear in here, one here, one here, put in your linkage, and then start stacking the gears. The valve body, differential, and Bellhousing is pretty much done. So next we'll be building our drums. Okay, thanks for watching. This will be the end of part 1. Part 2 will be drums.